UndergroundVideoNetwork.com presents the We Talk Too Much podcast.
This is where the fun begins.
Comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, gaming, and everything nerdy.
That's it. This is just too weird.
Now, here's your host of the We Talk Too Much podcast, Mike and Richard.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Underground Video Network's We Talk Too Much. Almost said behind the counter, Rich. It's been so long and I'm so out of practice. We Talk Too Much. I am Michael Boroff.
I'm Richard Catterjohn.
Rich, how's it going?
Good.
I got to apologize right out of the gate because I know how to do a good podcast. I'm going to alienate the listeners. To anybody watching, you're going to notice it's a little hard for me, my line of sight, because for a long time when we were doing a podcast, I had such a POS desktop computer, it was actually better for me to use my phone. But thanks to this brilliant man next to me, he pointed me in the right direction. I finally updated my desktop, and I can actually do all this stuff proper. I just don't know where to look anymore because I'm so used to doing it on my phone, which I could put right here. So I apologize if you see my eyes wandering all over, but that's out of the way. Rich, how is everything?
Good. The concert got rained out, so I could do the show.
Yeah, we initially weren't going to be able to do the show tonight because you had some
I was out on assignment. I was playing Peter Parker tonight at a fundraising concert here in my local community, and it was really pouring down rain. So I did drive out to where the concert was supposed to take place, and I think one of the bands was there. So I took a picture of the band with the bus with the rain coming down. So
the whole thing is kind of ironic for me, and I absolutely adore it because we've talked about before, we try to do this as regularly as possible, but, life gets in the way. Some nights I have to work when we normally do this. Some nights Richard has to work. But it's funny for me because a couple nights where we weren't able to do the show is because, like you said, Richard, you were pulling the Peter Parker. So you couldn't make it because you were being the photographer. And I'm at home with the video camera going, I want to do the show, But I got a chance to, Richard. You had some really cool news. Speaking of the Peter Parker, what was it, just last weekend?
Oh, yeah. I went to a little festival and took a bunch of pictures, and all 4 of my photos got on the front page. So,
oh, yeah. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
It was just a fest over at, one of the little towns where I live. So,
BFE, Ohio. Just say no more. But, man, feels like we've got so much to catch up on that we haven't got a chance to talk about too much.
Yeah, because we missed Gem City there because things got turned around for that. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Jesse, we just couldn't make it. It was just one of those things.
It was what you had, like a wedding, and then I think both of us came down with something that Sunday too. Cause it was kind of like me and Richard were both like, man, I don't want to break his heart by telling him I don't feel good. And then it's just like, dude, I'm not feeling good. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling good either, man.
Yeah, I think I caught something at that wedding. It just, it was like a stomach bug. I heard there was a stomach bug that went around. So,
Which is funny for us, Richard, because we've always bragged about the fact that we've been doing the con circuit for so long. Like, knock on wood, we never get hit with the con crud. But it was like the anti-con crud that stopped us from going. It was like the pre-con crud that stopped us from going.
But it was one of them things. Life happens.
I got a chance to see some, because we both had a lot of friends that got a chance to go down, and luckily, they took some great pictures, and it looked like they had a really great show.
Yeah, I think the way they were talking, I know Gary from Twilight Star took some pictures and stuff. There was some really cool cosplay because he got his with Spider Gwen. That looked really cool. Yep. Well, there was a lot of stuff that happened in the on streaming. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially Disney Plus, malicious let's just dive right into it. As of shooting this right now, we're live. It's Saturday, the 20th, and She-Hulk just dropped 2 days ago.
Yep, episode 1.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Richard. I've watched it twice already. Yeah, I mentioned like when we watched Loki and especially WandaVision. Those were shows that were great, but it was like they begged a second viewing so you could catch all the little nuances you might have missed. Not saying that She-Hulk didn't have nuances, but I really went back and rewatched it a second time just because it was so much fun. It was enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, I liked how it's set up. It took the premise from the comic, made the breaking the fourth wall, and it just worked,
Which I absolutely love because I made the mistake of, especially like a couple of the Marvel fan pages, I made a huge mistake and I read the comments.
Oh, forgot to say, spoilers, people. If you're watching us, we always spoil.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was She-Hulk. It was really good. All right, what else, Richard? What else was there that?
She was great.
No, I can honestly say there's been a lot of times, Richard, where something's come out and I'll tell you, I'm familiar with the character, but I didn't follow the character very. No. I have been especially whenever she has solo books, She-Hulk fan for a long time. And She-Hulk, especially over the last decade or so, I was like, what the hell?
Oh, I lost a high res memory card and I didn't want to lose it on the floor.
The other thing that's weird for me, Richard, and I'm not used to seeing you 4K this big for me. I'm used to literally little Richard. I am familiar with the comic book, Greg Pak's artwork or cover work. Anybody complains about her breaking the fourth wall, pick up the comic book. She's been doing that for a long time. Dare I say, almost maybe if not longer than even Deadpool has.
Yeah, it's been longer. She-Hulk's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the characters is, but
no, her breaking the fourth wall, that started a long time ago.
Yeah. And I like the way they did it too, because I like the way the episode shot, where it was like now, then now again.
Yeah.
Because the whole reason that tickled me so much was the scene where she's with Bruce at the bar, where you could tell she broke the first wall for the fourth wall for the first time. She looked at the camera and she says, "He doesn't mean that." And then she did a double take, like she was just now realizing what she did. It was like that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The special effects were a lot better than what everybody was going to complain about. That's for sure.
Dude, especially, come on, man. They're promos.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to get that out as quickly as they can to get it. It looked fantastic. One of the things I really liked about the way they did She-Hulk was that they did it very similar to the Hulk, where you could still see Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
You know what I mean? You could still see Mark Ruffalo's face in the Hulk, and they did that very well with her too.
Yeah, I liked how she was able to control her, because he was kind of jealous,
Oh, right out of the get-go. I first of all, let's backtrack. I love the way that they really showed their relationship. They were family.
Yeah.
And it was nice because it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm his cousin, but we hardly ever see No. They were family. They had that familial chemistry about them. Just just the way they talk to each other. The chemistry between the two of them as actors was great. Between Mark and I'm not even gonna. No, I've been a fan of hers since Orphan Black,
Right.
and I'm still I have too much respect for her as a person to butcher her name. But the chemistry between the two of them, chef kiss. That was they did very well together.
Yeah, it was really cool to see like it being fit right into the MCU. You know,
Right.
lately we've been having some of the shows we're not sure exactly where they fit in. You know, like Moon Knight and stuff.
Yeah.
We just wasn't sure where it fits in. This we know almost exactly where it fits into because Hulk healed his arm. You know, we found out how he healed his arm and stuff. So that explained a lot. And hopefully, as the series progresses, we see even more with her interacting with everybody.
And we got to see the lab where Bruce did all of his work to mesh the Banner and the Hulk personality.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a very nice touch, and it was great closure because from the end of First Infinity. God, I am.
Infinity War.
What was it? What was the Endgame?
Endgame.
No, we got to see how Bruce got to where he's at.
Right.
Before it was just like, oh yeah, I did some shit. Don't worry about it. I'm Hulk Banner now, or I'm Smart Banner now. We got to see that. We got to see where he did all that work.
Yeah, I loved how he was joking with the Smart Hulk moniker. That was really funny.
I mean, Smug Hulk. Dude, her dialogue is so well written because it was like when, and again, it goes back to the good chemistry, and you could tell their family when she's like, yes, but you don't condone it, so you're guilty by by proxy. He's like, that is such a lawyer thing to say. I was like, oh, I did. I loved at the very beginning when it was Jennifer, when she broke the fourth wall, when she was talking to us. It's like, I know what you're thinking. Lawyer show. This is going to be a lawyer show. It's like, I loved that, because it was like she wanted that so much.
Just so long as we don't have little dancing cyber babies, but
You son of a bitch! I thought the same thing. I thought, oh my god! I swear to God, I thought the same thing, Richard. My mind went straight to Ally McBeal. I was just like, oh.
But like I said, that very first episode worked really well. It was just like you said, fun. It was like what Marvel should be, I think.
Yes. And you know what? I was talking to Alex today at Alter Ego Comics in Lima, Ohio. Again, this is another reason why you really need to go to brick and mortar comic book stores to talk to people. I mean, that's how we got started doing this, was just comic book talk. But Alex brought up a really great point, Richard, because it wasn't just. I like how they kept it as an homage to the original comic books, where Jennifer got her powers through a transfusion from Bruce's blood.
Right.
Which always in the comic books seemed, it's like, I know she was dying, but it still seemed irresponsible. This made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He bled on her open wound, but they didn't just leave it there, Richard. There was a reason why she reacted the way that she did, becoming She-Hulk. Bruce explains it, that she had they didn't come out and say it, Richard, but they wanted to, a mutation in her DNA.
Right.
That not only not killed her from, being infused with Bruce's blood, but reacted the same way he did, which made, it's like, oh my God, they're family.
Yeah.
So yes, which also, it added, when you really take the deep dive, it added so much to the later Joker. So it's like, not only are they cousins, they're blood cousins. It's not like, cousins by marriage, which are as strong a bond as anything, not diminishing it, but from a DNA point of view, it was such a nice.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. They didn't really say exactly how they were cousins, but it's probably like, like their mom and dad was like brother and sisters, or something,
Yeah. Or no, their mom and dad weren't brother and sister.
Oh, no.
Her mom and his dad.
Wrong area, but you know what I meant. Like one of the mom and dad probably was brother and sister to Bruce's.
Yeah, they were blood.
Yeah.
But even the little stuff, the dialogue between the two of them in the car pre-spaceship.
Oh.
God, that is.
So we're going to see Hulk go off world, right?
Oh well. But just the conversation between the two of them about, hear me out. Steve Rogers was,
Oh.
He was a nerd, and then he did, and then it was like one thing after another. All I'm saying is, like, I love, and the other thing I liked about that was with that conversation and Bruce talking about how Tony kind of gave him the lab, helped him build the bar, solidified that these characters had a relationship outside of the Avengers.
Or the Avengers was family.
Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly.
I think that was more it when they bonded together because they broke bread together. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the first Avengers, so it was there was more going on other than what we saw in the movies behind the scenes.
They weren't just work buddies.
Yeah,
it was family, and it adds to Age of Ultron when they had that party. It wasn't just like a work party,
right?
Because we've all had to go to the office Christmas party. No, these were friends. They were. It was the reason why after everybody left, they were still all together. And it's just small character stuff like that is the reason why, in my opinion, Marvel still sets the bar.
Yeah. And like I said, I think they're really setting a lot of things up for the future of Avengers, and Thunderbolts and stuff like that, because we're going to see a lot of that. And they got to go in different directions and give us something different than the comics.
Mm-hmm. And if you really want to do a deep dive, Richard, the idea of Bruce's blood contaminating somebody didn't just come out of left field. That was still a nice little nod back to the Edward Norton, the Incredible Hulk, in that great little scene where the Watcher, Stan Lee, ingested some of Bruce's blood from the soda pop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I still love that. I need in my life to see. I don't know if anybody's done any fan art of it. I'm afraid to look it up because I'm afraid to look up fan art, period. I do Rule 64. But a hulked out Stan Lee. But so yeah, it wasn't out of complete left field that Bruce's blood would, affect
like I said, I like the fact the way they kept it very close to the comic in the way she reacts and turns into the She-Hulk.
Yes. And I like the way it added layers because it was Bruce's blood affected Jennifer, but it was Jennifer's blood that healed Bruce.
Right. Yeah, it made a lot of sense because it would have that factor where it would turn some of the isotopes in the blood back. You know what I'm saying? So it made kind of sense,
Yeah. And I like to how they kind of, well, they didn't kind of, it was like right out there that she was becoming a better Hulk quicker. Now, there was a lot of slack for that, but think about it like this. You've got Bruce Banner, who gamma radiation. I'm not. I'm just speculating here, but science. He probably the best shape to begin with. You know what I mean? He probably wasn't, hitting the gym 24/7 doing yoga. So we've got somebody at this level of fitness becoming the Hulk. But we have Jennifer, who, she'd already, made the joke about, yoga class and everything. So we have somebody who was already at this level already becoming the Hulk. You know what I mean? So if you think about the deep dive, it just amplified what was already there, and she was already
it gave her an edge on being able to control the savage side of her.
Yeah, and like a great scene is when they're doing the yoga, and Bruce is doing a really great move, but then you got Jennifer over here, one arm legging it with like this, Yeah, because she already knows yoga. She's been doing yoga for years, Yeah.
Chapter 1 gone.
Oh, that was the only gripe I had, Richard, was like he tore out a section. I would have rather seen him tore out like half the book. Because that would have been funnier for me if it had just been like
Yeah, but that's all his research. That's his handbook.
Yeah. But something else, Richard, I'm betting it was like a little bit of foreshadowing. Again, we're going back to like WandaVision, and it's like I'm calling it now. They made a very big deal about showing Bruce destroying Jennifer's blood sample.
Oh yeah.
And making the point that, if this was to get out to the general population, I'm telling you right now, I'm calling that as a subtle bit of foreshadowing of something we might see later on down the line in the MCU. Well,
yeah.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Ross.
We get a Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully we'll get Rick Jones later on too. That's what I'm.
Yes.
And now, I'm trying to think. Wingfoot, Wyatt Wingfoot, the one from the Fantastic Four that She-Hulk dated and stuff.
Now, yeah.
Will that be that one from the promo? Is that him from the promo?
Very possible, man. People are picking the shit out of that promo.
I know. I'm just wondering because he kind of has the look of, so that'd be cool to see.
Another little Easter egg you see in the poster was when they passed by a theater or something where you saw a poster for Donnie Blaze.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Blaze. No, she spent some time with the Defenders. So
I just hope that we just see this going, like I've been saying, we go in different directions, with the Marvel connection stuff, I just hope somewhere along the line they create one of these characters to help be the glue to hold all of it together. Because right at the moment, the Marvel universe seems so fractured. And I think they need something to try to pull it all together again.
I got one word for you, dude. Wong.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I want Wong to be the Nick Fury of like phase 5 and 6. I mean, They're already leading in it. I am so Team Wong right now. I really am.
And all that stuff starting to leak out from Secret Invasion now too. So,
yeah. I
think there's going to be a lot of changes with these. I think that's going to be more of a big alien fest than what the comic originally was,
I do too. I really do too. But there was God, She-Hulk was just so much fun. I loved watching. I don't want to call it a montage because it wasn't exactly a montage, but Bruce working with Jennifer especially when he just, I'm sorry, when he just smacked her off the cliff.
Oh,
Dude, I'm not kidding, Richard. I rewound it like 3 times because I chuckled so hard because as she's falling, she's just doing she threw up that middle finger. And, oh God, the one joke that she made while they were doing the yoga about working on like a tight ass or something. He's like, "Whoa, cousin, not cool, bro." She's like, I love that because that's the way cousins are, man. You know what I mean? Like, you say stuff to get under each other's skin. She knew that was going to give him the heebie-jeebies. I really loved the court scene. I still love when she starts to leave. She's still like lawyer show. I was like, first acknowledging that but when they were in court, when Titanica burst in, really kind of showed Jennifer's control over her powers because to see somebody crashing through a wall, would have startled anybody enough to, trigger the transformation. But she held her stuff together, which was a great moment when she was talking to Bruce about the reason why she has such good control over her anger. Is like, look, I'm a woman. I get mansplained at my job. She's rattling off all these reasons why, like, keeping my anger in check. Done. Yeah. Great. But when she was in the courtroom, when her friend was kind of like, Jen, you're up. Such a She-Hulk moment. When she goes, I really like this outfit. And she was taking stuff off. Her friend is the one that had to remind her, heels. She kicked them off either. It was so casual. She just like just took the shoe. He just took her heels off.
yeah. I looks like we're gonna get like court cases every episode and have something go on or something. I mean, I won't mind seeing that though. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
And stay beyond the credit or the post credit stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Every episode is supposed to have something. So.
I did. I enjoyed it very much. I've been a fan of the actress since Orphan Black, which phenomenal. Her performance in Orphan Black reminded me a lot, and I talk a lot about her. The actress that played Crazy Jane in Doom Patrol.
Oh.
Her ability to just jump characters, not even in a cutscene, right here and there.
Right.
The actress did very, very impressive job of doing that in Orphan Black. See her stretch her comedic talent. Very, very much a fan of. Speaking of She-Hulk, I got to mention real quick though, if you're not currently buying the current run of the solo title She-Hulk comic book, your comic book store. It's really good. It is in character with the previous style and flavor we've seen from the She-Hulk books before. Still that kind of tongue-in-cheek, not overly dramatic. And it's a great storyline with a very obscure character, Jack of Hearts. Right now, it's such a good book. I got it. If you're a real big fan of She-Hulk the show, do yourself a favor. I think we're on issue 5 or 6, and I know the trade's coming out really soon. You really owe it to yourself to pick it up. That's my 2 cents.
Good. Another thing dropped on streaming this last couple weeks on Netflix.
Oh, I was gonna say this is the first time you had to narrow it down. There's a couple things. I'll hit both of them. What are you thinking, Richard? Where do you want to start?
Sandman.
Fucking A, buddy. Oh, holy. Oh, that was good television, eh? I'm slipping right into Canadian because I'm so happy with this. Sandman was binged the weekend. I that was amazing. Again, the opinions expressed by Michael Moore are not strictly that of. It was perfect. That was perfect storytelling. The casting was phenomenal. I know there was a lot of controversy behind some of the casting choices, but you know what? F you, it was great. Jenna Coleman as how did they say it? Joaquin Constant, not how did they pronounce it, Richard? Like the night Constantine.
Constantine, yeah.
Constantine. Oh, I thought she was great. Now, don't get me wrong. Still absolutely love Matt Ryan. You cannot touch Matt Ryan in my book. But for the Sandman universe, oh, she was every bit of a cheeky asshole as we expected from the character.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole series, the look of the series. You know, a lot of people was saying how he looked too much like a CW character or something. I really didn't think so. You know, I think he had his own. You know, it was its own stuff. You know, what else do you expect to be in live action though? You know.
No kidding. Let's see. Morpheus in the comic books. Tall, lanky, pale, black spiky hair. Sandman on the TV show. Tall, lanky,
Yeah.
pale. Now, I'm really glad they decided not to do like the white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that would have worked quite as well.
Yeah, I was at least they didn't go with the whole nightmare look, you know, as much, you know.
Yeah.
But I think by being live action, it worked, and I even love Death. You know, Death was
Yes,
great.
I did too. My only disappointment with Death was we didn't get enough. But
Yeah, that's what I was.
but the thing about it is though, I really hope that this isn't the only Sandman series we'll see. For what it was for season one,
Yeah,
we got it because I mean we barely saw much of Desire. We saw even less of Despair. I'm hoping to see more later.
yeah. The only problem might be is budgeting with all the streamers now. It just seems like they're cutting stuff left and right. You know.
Yeah, but for as much of attention, as much as high praise as Sandman has gotten, I got to imagine they're stashing some money back for that one.
I would hope, but Warner Brother Discovery now has got a whole nother thing going on. So,
Well, they've already kind of led up to what the next season would be. I mean, for
yeah,
them to have done that scene with their interpretation of Lucifer was I loved it. That was
yeah,
because it's so outside the norm. You know, it's like big red horn. Blah, blah, blah. No. No, Lucifer was a fallen angel. You know, Lucifer wasn't a demon. You know, so having them going with the direction that they did, having Lucifer look the way they did, she still had an angelic quality about her.
yeah. Neil Gaiman had a lot of input into this, so I think
Yes,
that's why it really did stay more like what it was. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Yeah, it's just right now we've lived through the golden age. It feels like of comic book adaptations. Now we're entering something new. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, especially with like Warner Brothers cutting everything. Like you have a completed movie. We decided not to show it because we can make more money by taking a tax write off.
Yeah, that we'll get into that in a second. That one pissed me off. But Sandman was I was literally blown away by it because that's another character and another series of books that I am familiar with. So to see certain things brought to life, Pumpkinhead. Oh, that's another. And did you look to see who did the voice, Richard?
No.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Dude, I think we've established, at least for me personally, when it comes to Mark Hamill is like, oh. But here's the thing, Richard. It's his work outside of Star Wars that I recognize and appreciate more than even Luke anymore. Because he is, oh, God. And I mean, it wasn't even a huge role. It was literally totality, probably like 8-9 lines.
Yeah.
They could have gotten anybody. I mean, I'm sorry, but they could have gotten anybody for it. It almost seemed like that was something like Mark Hamill. I don't know the detail. I really don't. But seemed like something like Mark Hamill would have been like, dude, nudge, nudge. Like, are you sure, Mark? It's only like 8-9 lines. No, I want to be a part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Mark Hamill. How do you say no? Patton Oswalt as the Raven.
Yeah.
Nice little touch. Such a nice little touch. Because he had that everyman kind of quality to his voice. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, the Raven in his lifetime wasn't somebody like super important, so it wasn't like a Liam Neeson voice, you know, like hello, you know, it was Patton Oswalt, you know, it was like that's everybody. I mean, he was just a dude.
Yeah, it worked out good, and it was that little comedic touch just kind of helped a little.
Oh bit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it wasn't overdone, you know, which was good.
All the other stuff of the stories. Oh my God, that episode of The Diner, Richard.
Oh yeah.
As a standalone episode, that was like some Black Mirror stuff. Like that episode outside of Sandman could have been a Black Mirror episode and wouldn't have lost anything. And I say that positive. I mean that in a good way.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, I thought the casting was great. I thought the actors did a phenomenal job. You could kind of see, Richard, where the budget was starting to run out.
Yeah.
Last couple. Yeah, I mean, it was still great, but I mean, it was like going from 4K back to VHS. You know, it was just like you're still getting it, but it's just not quite as good.
Yeah. What did you think of the animated? Did you catch that they added the other day?
I literally just found out about the 2 bonus episodes today.
Yeah, I think in truth, you know what I think those were? I think those were they were trying to do another series and it just didn't get picked up.
Very pop, yeah.
It seems like with all this stuff going on at Warner Brothers, and should say Warner Brothers Discovery, you know, things just aren't quite what they used to be, you know.
Yeah. But we'll get in that. But real quick, because we're still talking about streaming and Netflix. Oh God, for people listening and watching, this is really what happens when me and Richard haven't gotten a chance to talk for a few weeks. I don't know if you watched it or not, but speaking of Netflix, we got the final season of Lock and Key.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it if you were a fan of the first couple of seasons, which I was, and again, this was a property that I was very familiar with. This third and final season was really good. I'm glad they got it out when they did, because like the two older siblings, again, they were at that age where, the actors were probably 30 and could still pay 20. But Bodhi, the youngest child, like it's kind of hard to tell me that only 6 months passed. That kid sprouted like 4 inches tall. And his friend Rufus, that was another one that was like more than a few months have passed. But it was really good. It tied up the series very well. We got a little spoiler, a little smidgen of maybe we'll see more in the future, But this series, the final season tied everything together very well. Very good storytelling. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I really did like season 3 of Lock and Key.
Yeah, I haven't quite finished it, but yeah, it was I don't know how I want to say this. It became its own thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what I like. I like sometimes when shows take elements and then make it their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Sticking to the source, but like you said, fleshing it out till it's its own thing.
And make it work on a TV level or on a series level. We can't really can't really say TV anymore. They're series, because they stream. That's just how old we are.
And I'm still refusing to say content, Richard. I'm pulling the old man card. I'm not content. This isn't content. This is a show. Going back to Disney Plus real quick, something else that dropped on Disney Plus, and I shouldn't say dropped, but The Orville is now all three seasons are viewable on Disney Plus, and I don't know the exact algorithms or anything, but I'm begging people, please watch The Orville on Disney Plus, because we really want the numbers, because we want more seasons. I'm serious, Richard. I haven't been hit by a show like The Orville. Now, granted, there are shows that I really like and I'm very passionate about, but man, The Orville, dude, it got me. You and I are old enough, Richard. It's like I remember the original Star Trek in syndication. We were there for the first run of Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and everything. God, the show was so much more than we anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
I remember vividly, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I was one of those people that immediately thought, oh, it's going to be Family Guy in space. Man, I know Seth MacFarlane's range. Like A Million Ways to Die in the Old West. Love that. I adore that movie because he is a really good comedic genius. And he's a nerd. Like, I don't know if you know this, Richard. Little Easter egg. In A Million Ways to Die in the Old West, when he stumbles into the barn with Doc Brown and the DeLorean, that was his DeLorean.
No.
His DeLorean. He owns that DeLorean. That was his Back to the Future DeLorean. But everybody thought the same thing, as it was going to be Family Guy in space. It was so much more than that. And season 1 and season 2 were phenomenal. There was concern when they left. Well, there was concern by the fans when he pulled it from Fox. Seth MacFarlane has gone on record as saying that season 3 was what he had always had in mind for The Orville.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say that the first two were bad. It wasn't at all. But Richard, I can see that was like Seth MacFarlane lays the script down and Fox goes, "We need a dick joke." No, dude, no. I'm not. They were pushing the over the top Family Guy humor. But he's come on record saying that season 3 was what he wanted from the get go, and man, season 3. I have joined a couple of the Orville like Facebook pages and everything, and there is a really strong renew the Orville, like hashtag renew the Orville. It was so, oh yeah, it was so well written, and it did such a good job, Richard, of staying within its own continuity, where it's still from stuff from previous episodes. Like one of the main things in season 3 was the Aronoff device, which we saw in episode 1, which I know because I'm recently rebinging it, and it was fun for me. I swear to God, Richard, I'm not making this up. It was just last night. I posted a picture on Facebook. I was building Lego last night, Richard, and I like to have my snacks around when I'm building Lego and watching TV. And I'm like, I'm going to watch. We're diving into the Orville again. I'm sitting here with my cheese, my crackers, and a jar of pickles. And I'm watching the very first episode. And it was completely, it might have been subconscious, I don't know. But when he got to the line, Alara, could you open this jar of pickles for me? I looked at my jar of pickles and went, what the shit? So
I do like the new ensign, the one that navigates, that can see in the fourth realm or dimension space.
Yes. Have you finished watching season?
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet, so I know something happens. That's why I've been trying to stay away.
I'm going to be a solid bro, dude, and I am going to cap the spoilers. Man.
Yeah, I'm on like episode 4 or 5 right now. It's the one where they find his daughter,
Oh, yeah. Man, and I hate referring back to Star Trek because it is in of itself its own thing. But one of the things that made the original and Next Generation so good and so resonating within even modern pulp culture is their ability to take pertinent issues of the time and incorporate them into a futuristic show to show we're still dealing with that problem.
Right.
And I'm just going to say right now to any of the people who was like, oh, this show is too woke. Screw you. Go back in time and watch some original Star Trek. Guess what? It's always been that way. The entire episode with Frank Gorshin with the black and white people that hated the white and black.
Yeah.
It's always been like that.
Yeah, it's also one of them things, like the new Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, I'm really love that the first season of it and stuff, so.
But yeah, it's gotten to the point like Richard, where I found out recently on one of the Orville fan pages. I didn't know this. I wish I didn't know this. That Hulu has a shop. Inside that shop is a bunch of Orville stuff, which had I not known about a few weeks ago, I would have just been disappointed. But now I'm going through and I'm like, oh man. Because, like, they had to. I don't know if they made one yet, but in the very first episode, which is why I love his sense of humor, when John Lamar first meets Ed Mercer, he's like, hey, man, me and the old captain had this deal where I could have soda up on the bridge. Is that still cool with you? And he's like, yeah, as long as you don't, you keep it under the console and you don't spill it, we're good. He's like, cool. Big dramatic moment. Spaceships flying around, lasers. Lamar legitimately just like reaches out of nowhere off camera and pulls out a tumbler with a big metal straw and takes a sip of his goddamn soda. And on the side of that metal tumbler was the United Union's logo, and I went, yeah, I need that. Oh, there's hats. Yeah, I'm going to need a hat. Yeah. So yes, I know I've talked about it on end about the Orville, but it is on Disney Plus now, and I like seeing that all until a couple of nights ago on the trending layer or whatever. Man, our show hit that #1 mark right there.
Oh, good.
It was quickly bumped by She-Hulk, which is fine. It's still there. What you were talking about earlier, Richard, with the whatever the hell the WB, CW.
Well, the CW has been sold, so that has nothing really to do with the WB Discovery. They're still producing content for CW. CW is only they only owe 12%, with like Paramount only owns 12%, and then rest of it's owned by this company that owns all these TV stations across America.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted. They wanted their own network. They're doing their own thing. It's going to be more adult. And then, the crazy thing, I was looking at the statistics for the CW. It's skewed. Its main audience is age 54, but they're not programming for 54. It's really bizarre. I really had to question this too, because I didn't understand. But the ones that's age 18 to 36 is what you would think is the target audience for that is. Do not watch the over-air broadcast. It's 54. The streaming network is the ones that picks up the 18 through 36 on the app, but the app really doesn't do the justice because it's the aftermarket on Netflix. They made a big deal with Netflix when it first went on the air. That's why they picked them up. What was it, like the season ended, then Netflix had the rights to it?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't like when Supergirl ended the season, they could stream all the episodes. So Netflix invested money into these programming so that they could create these shows, or like Paramount did the Archies and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a weird time right now, because I think what happened was everybody thought we was getting all this stuff, and then I think like Cowboy Bebop didn't go over as well.
Which was a damn shame, because that was...
I'm just using that example because I think
right. Yeah.
one of the main things that Netflix saw where they weren't getting their revenue back. And I think that I think a lot of these, they're not wanting to pay for all this content anymore. Again, I think that's what it really goes down to. The age that they want, that 18 to 36, don't want to pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
And they're losing revenue because of the multi sharing of login information. and if they're losing money instead of making money, they can't just keep producing content. And that's what I think it narrows down to. I think that's why like all this stuff happened at Warner Brothers. They can just get and it was best interest for the company, not necessarily the audience.
Yep. The executives got a hold of it, and for anybody who's a fan of old 90s rom-com movies and comedy movies, we know what happens when the corporation gets a hold of something. Uncle Lou loses his surf shop,
Yeah, I just think that's what happened, and I think we're just going to have to readjust, and I don't know. I still think Disney's going to be next to readjust.
Dude, you're like the goddamn Nostradamus when it comes to the streaming stuff, Richard, because I pretty much everything you've called from even 10 years ago.
It's just I've always done the research on this. I think it dealt way back when I first beta tested Hulu. It was really fun. And does anybody remember the Popcorn Channel? It was supposed to be part of Redbox and that other, and they tried to do their streaming and then they didn't quite do it right, because their interface was totally cluttered and it didn't work. So no one wanted to use it because it didn't work. And that's what I wrote in my little survey. Please redo your interface. You cannot find anything to watch, because that's what Hulu did. Hulu started out like that too. It was a mess. I don't know, the beta that I had, you couldn't find nothing. And then they streamlined it and made it work. And then that's what Netflix kind of moved to, because it was really bizarre how everybody started moving in the same direction, organizing, finding stuff, and making it. And that whole process changed the way streaming worked, I think.
It's kind of like, Richard, I can't remember which, it might have been Hulu or whichever one did it first. But for anybody that's ever worked in a factory before, the workers think it's going to work this way. And it takes the guy making $10 less than they do that actually works the line every single day to say, it's not going to work that way. You're going to want to do it this way.
Right.
And I guarantee that's probably what happened was like some guy who worked the company, was using it, went up to an engineer and went, bro, this is not working.
Yeah.
This is what will work. And the engineer went, oh, okay. And when they did it, everybody else started, like you said, everybody else started to see.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who, and what I always thought was funny was I beta Tubi when it first launched, because I actually thought that was going to be more like blip.tv. Remember that old, where we was part of, because we had our program on there, and I really thought that was going to become the next big thing where independent creators could put stuff out there and not be YouTube, and it was going. And then of course, Disney bought them because they wanted their software, because they wanted to build Disney Plus. They built Disney Plus using, blip.tv is what they did.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre how all that works out. So.
Oh, I almost forgot, Richard. Speaking of Disney Plus, there was one other very small thing that got dropped on Disney Plus just this last week. That's definitely worth a watch, and that's Baby Groot. Yeah, I did. No, the Baby Groot shorts.
Yeah.
Oh. Whatever limelight was lost to Baby Groot because of Baby Yoda was reclaimed in these shorts, and they were so well done, and they worked so well as shorts, as little mini 5-minute episodes.
They weren't even that. They were only 2.5.
Yeah.
For half of the 5 minutes.
And the one that really tickled me, Richard, was one of the last ones where Groot was doing the little art project and Rocket shows up. And it was I was hoping so much, please tell me that is actually Bradley Cooper, because it was it meant so much to me knowing that meant so much to him, because they could have got, it was Vin Diesel too, but it was his show, but it meant so much to me knowing that Rocket meant so much to him that he was just no. I know you could get a dozen other great, phenomenal voiceover actors to do it. I want to do it. And it was him too.
I like the episode where he found the little civilization.
Yeah. Because what's so great about it is first they're throwing spears at him, and then they're shooting arrows at him, and then all of a sudden this anti-tank gun pops up out of nowhere.
And then he destroys the civilization.
He was trying. I love the fact that he tries so hard to do something good, and it was just he's so happy he was bringing the tree over and squish, but it was just the whole.
Put the rock on top of it and just took off.
But spoiler alert, they were fine because they popped up out of the dirt.
Yeah.
But they were so good.
I did do something last weekend. Is why we really didn't have the show last weekend. I went down to Columbus and saw a live or a screening of Pup and Stuff last week. And
I forgot about that, Richard. I was going to ask you how that was.
Yeah, it was crazy seeing it on large screen. I guess that was the second time it's ever been shown on large screen. They had two showings. They had one at 4:00 and then one at 7. But it was so crazy to see it on the large screen. You know, I think it was a digital copy, very similar to what they used to master this DVD with, is the way they explained it. Because the original film does not have a soundtrack anymore. The one they used to send around, it got damaged or something, the film, because they like showing film down there at the Wex. So, you know, it was really interesting to see in the theater.
Oh my God. That had to have been a mind trip.
It's been a while since I saw it because I got this in because I thought I was going to have to do something else, but I haven't rewatched it yet. But I'm going to watch it on DVD now. This is DVD, not even Blu-ray. I picked it up.
Because I can only imagine, because I remember going back and watching those. I can only imagine, Richard, people sitting at the theater, like you said, watching it on the big screen, just being like freaking out, man. Wait a minute. What's with
I broke our rule of thumb. Audio people, I'm talking about Puff and Stuff, the movie.
Oh.
I did a mic. I forgot to say what I was talking about.
I didn't catch it. No, HR Puff and Stuff, and that's...
Yeah, the movie is called Puff and Stuff. It came out in 70, I think, was when this one came out. Because this is like before the series itself, or they was left over. I think it was either leftover or the series itself, because it was only on for like one season. So
yeah,
Saturday morning cartoons never been the same since. So
how do I, for anybody who's never seen HR Puff and Stuff, if you've ever thought about experimenting with psychedelic and mind altering drugs, time out. Go find HR Puff and Stuff. Sit very close to the screen.
The best I can describe is if you ever seen Old McDonald advertisement from the 70s.
Because what was that one, Joe? I remember along that same lines where it was like the creators were watching the commercial and smoking a joint, and it was like, wait a minute, I got an idea. Oh, I'm glad to hear you got a chance to go down and see it. I know how much you love that.
Because I wasn't going to at first because I had a family obligation, but they said, take off and go see it. I left the family birthday party, went and saw that instead.
Well, both of us got an opportunity to take off and go down to the area to do something, to see something we love. Not last weekend, but the weekend before, I got a chance to go down to Dayton to the convention center, for it was the Brickmasters Lego Expo.
Okay.
And it was held at the Dayton Convention Center, which I told Richard earlier, it was weird for me because I'm so used to being there for Gem City. It was kind of like when you drive by a childhood friend's house that doesn't live there anymore, and you walk in and you just see all this new stuff in this old house that you used to recognize. It was trippy, but it was for someone like me, Richard, which obviously, like a second ago, I just brought out Lego Baby Groot. I love Lego, and not only that, but I love Lego in the artistic side of it. Some of the exhibits, which I have posted on our Facebook page, this was art, dude. This was the ultimate amalgamation of art and engineering. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it takes that eye for both. It's like seeing the Chrysler building. Yeah, but being able to use the bricks in such a way to make an exact replica of that build. Oh my God, it was.
And those aren't kits. Those aren't kits you can just buy at the store. They actually create their own stuff.
Oh God, yes, it was. And I'm such a fan of Lego. I'm also too appreciating the hard work that goes behind everything, but I'm also looking at sections of the building going, okay, wait a minute, that's $400, $600. Oh my God. You know, it was just like the brick math hit me, and I'm like, oh. And I have such respect for them because I love Lego, but I'm a kit guy. It's therapeutic for me, but I have such a deep appreciation for those people that can do that. And I got a chance to talk to a couple of the artists because on one wing, Richard, it was like sectioned off where it's like, this is all this person's work. This is all this person's work.
Oh, wow.
And the one thing, did you see the picture, Richard, of the woman that specialized in the space program?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And when I mean space, I don't mean Lego space. I mean like the space shuttle and the launch pad and the Mir space station to an immaculate level of detail. And what was nice was when I got there, Richard, because they did two different showings. It was like 10 to 11 and then like 1 to 3. I went to the later one and I got there early. One of the first ones in the door. I walked around, got my pictures and everything, and there was more than a few dozen people there, and I was happy. Then the crowd showed up, and it was elbow to elbow to the point where even I was kind of like, we have been in some major conventions before. Even I was kind of like, too much. Too many people, man. Too many people. So, you know, I picked up a couple because there was vendors in the back. You know, I didn't pick up any like sets that I could get from Lego or one of the Lego stores. I picked up unique finds, you know, like custom little vending machine and an arcade game. And I picked up this really dope light set for my Ghostbusters. But it was a lot of fun, and if you like Lego, definitely check out the pictures that I have posted on our Facebook page. It was complete works of art.
Well, it sounds fun. You know, and it's I've seen some of that stuff because I actually walked by the Lego store down at Easton there a couple weeks ago. You know, and I looked in, I go, oh, there's where Mike goes all the time.
And it was, Richard, that was a good, bad weekend for me because, what was it? I went down on Saturday, and just the previous Monday, I got delivered because I ordered it the night it dropped. I got the Lego Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange. And it showed up on Monday, and of course I did the thing where it's like, okay, look, you don't need to do anything with this yet. You have the weekend. It'll be fine. What am I doing? I'm opening what am I doing? It's 12 o'clock at night, and so I'd already had that set, Richard. I go down. I was really good. Only picked up a couple little sets. I even was like, I'm in Dayton, and there's a great Lego store in Dayton. That's where I got my Bugle. Great mom and pop store. Which, by the way, I wish I could give them. I want to give them a shout out because they do so much aside from just selling Legos. They have build-a-nights where you bring in your own kit, sit down amongst equally loving people, build your set while bullshitting with, you know, hanging out. It was like a gaming, you know, like a gaming sit down, but for Lego brick. They do a lot of great stuff, but I was like, I can't do it, man. Can't do it. I just dropped X amount on the Sanctum Sanctorum. I left. I was a good boy. I came home, Richard. I had to stop by the grocery store because I needed food. How dare Walmart have sets that they have no business having? Because not only did they have Baby Groot, they had Lego BD1 from Star Wars The Fallen Order. I want to tell you I was a strong man, Richard. I want to say I was strong. I was weak. I'm with both them goddamn sets. I'm like, why are you? First of all, I'm a responsible nerd. My bills were paid before I even left the house that day. I knew what I could do. And they also had the Galaxy Explorer, which was a modern recreation of one of the early 70s Space Explorer sets.
Oh, okay.
Which I had when I was a child. I came home with that one too, Richard. I was weak. Richard, I don't have a problem. I can quit. I can quit building them anytime I want. Richard, you got any bricks?
Yeah, right.
But
just like I can't stop buying video equipment.
Hey, you know what? My philosophy has always been be the adult first. Mortgage is always paid. The bills are always paid. What makes you happy, man, especially Richard, especially during the last couple of years during quarantine and everything, man, that was my rock to get through. We didn't have, people to hang out with and do stuff, and that was my therapy, so now that cons and everything are back open, I can't stop. I'm like, how dare you release all these sets at the same time? That was my anger. Was like, put this one out now. Give me a month or two. Put this set out. No, here's all of them. Here's all the high-end ones at one time. Throw us your money. So, but what's nicer is while I'm building my sets, I got a chance to watch all these great shows that we've been talking about, and there's something special about building a Lego spaceship while watching the Orville. Okay, I'm not going to go back into the Orville. Love the show. But yeah, anything else, Rich? Last I haven't seen you for a while. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. Oh, everybody go over blackboxgallery.com. You can check out one of my photos made into their online gallery. So
yes, I was so happy to see that for you, Richard.
Yeah, that was pretty cool that got selected. It was that haunted house picture that I took from downtown, or it was outside of Kenton there, That was actually in Kenton that I took that. That was an old hospital. Everybody think it was a haunted place,
Oh man, so weird because I'm not wearing my glasses, which the people at home who are watching might have noticed. People listening, I don't think they should, because again, it goes back to the computer, and I'm actually using in
Cyclops. Oh,
yeah. Never let people see your bookmarks. You don't need that information. There was something else. We're getting more and more information about the Doctor Who special anniversary coming out. All the people that are going to be in it. I thought about that when we talked about Jenna Coleman.
Yeah. The audio series is really going left and right. They got a lot of stuff. So, what is it you who are watching and or listening have? Oh, real quick. I know what I wanted to mention to you, Richard. No way affiliated with this. Just something I thought everybody might like to check out. I've spoken many times, Richard, on the show about one of my favorite podcasts is Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You. It's just a great podcast. Finally did it. He's talked about it for the last few years, and he got Tom to do it. Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling, yes, Lex and Clark, are doing a rewatch podcast. Yeah, I heard about that.
We're going through every single episode week by week and reviewing it. It's called Talkville, and if you are a fan of Smallville, like we were, you definitely want to listen to this one because they both of them like to point out that it's been 20 goddamn years. They don't even remember the stuff. So it's almost like they're watching it through fresh eyes. And Thomas said many times where watching the episode has triggered memories about, behind the scenes stuff that he had completely forgot about. And some of those stories are so great. And actually, not this week's episode, but the week before's episode, Kristen Krug, I owe a great deal of apology for. It wasn't her fault. For any fan of ours who has been with us over the years, I might not have always had the best things to say about her, which was unfair. I apologize. It was unfair. She is a lovely human being. It wasn't her fault that the way they wrote Lana. I owe her an apology. But she was on an episode, and it was a lot of fun listening to them talk about the behind the scenes stuff.
That's cool.
Like one little detail Mike came out was while shooting, he shaved his head, and how he'd always wish I wish we could just do a bald cap. I wish we could do a bald cap. Well, for like the last episode, spoiler alert, people, it's been 20 years. When he came back to do a few scenes in the last episode, he'd already grown out his hair, so they used a bald cap. And he said, like 2 hours into them applying the bald cap and applying makeup, he really was like, shave it. Shave it. This is killing me. So, appreciate the bald. So, yeah, that's my unsolicited advert or little bit right there is, Talkville, great podcast.
Oh, and then also anybody that's within our area here in Ohio, Delaware, Ohio's library is going to sponsor Felicia Day, October the 15th.
Yep.
And I think tickets are selling fast because I think it's in some kind of middle school gymnasium that they're going to host this at.
Yep.
You got to have a reserved spot to be able to get in, I think, right? And then you can get an autograph after the talk. I think she's talking first at 7, and then his autograph afterwards. I think it's how it's going to be set up and stuff. So that should be interesting. If anybody in our area,
That reminds me, Richard, something I wanted to get a hold of you about. I'm going to get a hold of our friend Eric because I think he's going to go. Speaking of people coming to Ohio, I can't remember when it is, but it's coming very shortly. If you're a fan of early 90s, early 80s MTV, the name Julie Brown has a very special place in your heart.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Wubba Wubba Wubba, downtown Julie Brown. I'm talking about the one and only, God, I loved her so much.
That's this,
Julie Brown.
Yeah, it's this Friday, right?
Just Say Julie Brown, from such hits as Just Say Julie and Earth Girls Are Easy, fucking masterpiece. I will argue with anybody. That is a masterpiece of cinema right there, with Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, Gina Davis, Julie Brown. I didn't have to have this list in front of me because and Damon Wayans. She is going to be in Ohio very soon for a screening of Earth Girls Are Easy. And so, yeah. Guess what, people? Shit happens in Ohio.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell. Yeah. Bruce Campbell was here like shortly before the shortly before the pandemic.
Yeah, he's been here for several screenings. I saw him at a screening in Columbus for what was it? I saw him for.
Was it Bubba Hotep?
No, it was before that.
Screening brain.
Yeah, I just went blank. Yeah. But he was actually at Origins a long time ago. It was hilarious because I always remember he did a Q&A and I was talking on a panel and everything. And he brought up McHale's Navy.
Oh my man.
Because this is like way back, and he goes, how many actually saw it? And I was the only one. He goes, there's a really support fan.
Dude, McHale's Navy with Tom Arnold was way better than it had any right to be, and I will stand by that. I will die on that hill. That was, and I'm really not a Tom Oliver fan, but that was really good.
It was interesting, to say the least.
Because it was around that same time, like they were rehashing old TV shows. Like even Steve Martin did a remake of Sergeant Bilko, which I gotta say, I honestly like McHale's Navy a little bit more than Sergeant Bilko. So yeah. Anything else in closing, Rich?
No. Just keep checking our stuff, helping us out, and watching our show and liking stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of, Richard, where can the good viewers and or listeners find all of this goodness, including the Lego pictures I took a couple weeks ago?
We're in the process of rebranding. We're at UVN.plus now. You can go there and find the links to our video archive, which has all 800 plus videos that we've ever created. Missing the last couple because I haven't updated for a few times. But they're all available through our YouTube channel. Just link through there, and all our other social media links are found on UVN.plus. So just go there and check out everything.
So, behalf on myself, Michael Borf, and my good friend Richard Catterjohn, thank you for watching and or listening. We hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and we can't wait to see you at a comic book store and or convention, or just out on the street. Say hi to us. It's happened once or twice, and it blows my mind. So, Richard, if you would kindly, please press the button.